Morning, dear students. This is the third video on burns, and we were discussing about the type of burns and the assessment of burns. Everything we have discussed, the pathophysiology already we have discussed, and now we can see the investigation. So, investigations are primarily done to identify the abnormalities in the functioning of different organs which is involved with the burns. So organ function or multiple organ function failure can be there, and that is we are trying to identify with the investigations through blood clotting studies, liver function test, renal function test, and electrolytes we do. And cross matching if we are planning for a surgery in case of any third degree or fourth degree burns, we will be planning for grafting. So in that condition we do cross matching, and also cross matching we do if we have severe hypovolemia. So that is about the investigations. And regarding the management, it is an acute emergency situation. So the first one is first aid management. Next is management in the hospital. Then, as we know that there is the main problem with burns is the fluid shift and fluid loss. So importantly, we have to do the fluid management. Then in most of the conditions, it is a very severe pain can be felt. So pain management is a very much necessary. Next is wound management and healing of wound. It can be with debridement, hydrotherapy, and graft. Then next is drug therapy, nutritional support, nursing management, and rehabilitation. So these are the management measures which we do for a burned child. We can see the emergency treatment for minor burns. What we have to do is stop burning process, apply cool water or hold burn area under cool running water. Do not use ice or extremely cold items in the burned area. Do not disturb any blisters. Do not break the blisters. Then do not apply anything to wound in the home as an emergency measure. Remove burned clothing and jewelry if there from the burned child. And in case of major burns like emergency or first aid measures, what we have to do is again stop burning process. That is the first step what we have to do. And flames burn smoother the fire. So place the victim in horizontal position, roll victim in a blanket, avoid covering head, then cover with a clean cloth and transport immediately to the hospital or the nearby health facility. General principles what we follow in managing a child with burns include: if there is more than 10% of total body surface area, IV fluid resuscitation and urinary catheter will be inserted. So in that condition, urinary catheter will be inserting to find the renal functioning by hourly measuring the urine amount. And in major injury, nasogastric tube to decompress the stomach may be needed. And during transport, maintain body temperature by adequate covering of the child. Medications which we use for a burned child is antibiotics are usually not administered prophylactically because decreased circulation to the injured area prevents delivery of the medication to the areas of deepest injury. Then we go for tetanus toxoid prophylaxis by TT injections. Then analgesics may be necessary in most of the old conditions like morphine sulfate for severe burns, midazolam and fentanyl, excellent IV sedation and analgesia will be giving, and propofol and nitrous oxide for procedural pain. If you are planning for any skin graft, we have to use these medicines. Then topical therapy we will be applying over the wound of burns. That is 0.5 percentage of silver nitrate dressing can be done. Muffinide, acetate or sulfacetamide acetate cream. Then silver sulfadiazine cream, povidone iodine ointment, gentamicin cream or ointment. So these are the medications which we use for topical therapy. And next measure is fluid resuscitation, which we do is burn leads to intravascular volume depletion. So major losses occur during the first 24 hours. So crystalloids are used during that time. And myocardial depression 24 to 36 hours after injury can be there. So in order to prevent that, we have to initially start with intravascular uh, volume expansion should be done with the crystalloids. The goal of resuscitation is to maintain adequate intravascular volume to support tissue perfusion and thereby preserve organ function. The adequacy of resuscitation based on observation of blood pressure, heart rate, and urine output. Focus to maintain normal blood pressure, heart rate, and hourly urine output of 1 ml per kg per hour in the infant and young child, and zero point 0.5 milliliter per kilogram per hour in the child more than 12 years of age or more than 50 kg in weight. So, regarding the Parkland formula, crystalloid based formula, that is with RL, based on burn surface area of burn or body surface area of burn and the patient's body weight. Maintenance fluids 5% dextrose in lactate ringer lactate solution we will be giving, like 4 ml per kg plus burn surface area or body surface area of burn plus maintenance of fluids will be given. So for adults and children who weigh more than 40 kg, maintenance fluids are not included in the estimate of fluid requirements, but in children we will be adding the maintenance fluids. Then half of this is given in the first 8 hours, and after that we will be giving the remaining half will be given in the next 16 hours. So this is a fluid administration in the first 24 hours. The calculated total value will be given, and the half will be given in the first 8 hours, and later we will be giving the in the next 16 hours. And along with this we give maintenance fluid for children, not for adults and other people more than 40 kg, because fluid shift will be more among children and fluid loss will be more among children. After the first 24 hours, maintenance requirements plus to replace ongoing losses we have to calculate. The hourly evaporate fluid loss from wounds can be estimated as 25 plus burn surface area into total body surface area. The evaporative losses are primarily free water. To avoid rapid changes in sodium concentration in children, this loss is replaced with 5% dextrose in 0.2% normal saline, and loss of serum protein occurs in more than 40% burn surface area burns, body surface area burns. So that is a Brooks formula. Next is Parkland formula we have discussed, and next is a Brooks formula. First 24 hours, colloids 0.5 ml per kg burn surface area, saline 1.5 ml per kg total body surface area, then D5 as maintenance fluid. And in Brooks formula, next 24 hours, we will be administering colloids 0.25 ml per kg total body surface area, NS 0.75 ml per kg total body surface area, and D5 as maintenance fluid. So this is about the Parkland formula or Brooks formula, which we use commonly for children in burns. When the injury is larger, the loss is replaced in the second 24 hours after injury with 5% albumin. If it is very severe case, we will be giving additional dose of 5% albumin. Then urine output is best to gauge to tissue perfusion. So adequate renal perfusion, if it is there, it is estimated by urine output of 0.5 ml per kg per hour. So this is the adequate perfusion, and we have to monitor or we have to balance the IV infusion with the different type of body fluids like body fluids, and we have to measure the urine output. So we have to find out whether the person is getting adequate tissue perfusion. So urine output amount should be 0.5 ml per kilogram per hour. So this is about the management of a burn child and complications. Definitely we have discussed any of the complications during the pathophysiology and further explanations. So, generally, complications can be listed like hypovolemia, refractory and uncontrolled, and it can leads to shock. Next is renal failure, pulmonary edema, and ARDS. Then septicemia, multi organ failure, acute airway block in head and neck burns, septicemia, cardiac and GI complications, and post burn seizure, depression, and carcinoma in burn scar. So these are the some of the complications which are acute complications and long term complications of burns. Hope you understood the session. Thank you. Thank you very much.